Hey guys, Spence here. Today I'm feeling nostalgic, and whenever I'm nostalgic, I generally affiliate that with Game Boy games. So today I'll be talking about one of them from my past, namely Pocket Bomberman on the Game Boy Color. For North America, it was released in 1998 for both the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, though the Game Boy Color version came later. This game, unlike other games in the franchise, did not have any form of multiplayer whatsoever. It also was a side-scroller, strangely enough. Now then, let's look at this Let's look at this fun game from the past with no blasting involved. Long ago. The sun... You know what? Forget this. Synopsis time. Once on a planet, long ago, some black clouds came and covered the world. The only solution was the sword of the sun, and the one who pull it would be the one. But the sword was sealed away by 5 stones, and each one guarded by a monstrous foe. Mario and Sonic were far away, so Bomberman's on a case to save the day, yeah. A minute and 25 seconds condensed into 18 seconds. After you start up the game, you have a choice between a normal game and a jump game. The jump game is essentially a challenge mode that I'll get into later, and the normal game is the main mode. When you start the game, Bomberman begins his ascent up Evil Mountain. You know, the mountain from the intro I totally skipped. Anyway, he starts on the forest level. There, it essentially acts like a tutorial. Through all the areas that Bomberman will go through in this level, Bomberman will find essentially at least one of every power-up. Well, except for really one, and then he'll run to the power downs, which you'll only see here in the last level, but that's still just only a little bit of inconsistency. Same thing for spikes too, also only here and in the last level. Weird. I guess the bad guy couldn't afford them. The goal of each area is to kill all the enemies and then proceed to the exit. There is a time limit, but I never encountered a problem with it. Except for one level. After blasting your way through the 5th area, you then encounter the game's first dangerous and daunting boss! A giant tree! Seriously? Okay, 1, it's a tree. Sure, more dangerous than Wispy, but still a tree. 2, how the heck did the bad guy convince him to work for him? He covered the world in clouds. How is he gonna produce photosynthesis? How is he gonna make his own food? Unless he eats people, I don't think... Oh, I better kill this guy really fast. Anyway, after you kill the Mortal Kombat tree, you then gain the first Power Stone. Then, well, you move on to the next level, which is... the ocean. Okay, when I was younger, I just assumed Bomberman was swimming up the waterfall somehow. Now, with that being said, there are no oceans on mountains. There are rivers, there are streams, maybe even a lake somehow. But not oceans. But whatever. I'm reading too deep into it. It's around the water level you start encountering things that are, well, specific. Like these jets of water Bomberman can use to go up to higher places. And enemy types too, like the fish that swim around diagonally, and the clams that... In the ocean level, you also encounter a new power-up. The...
Foot wing.
Shut up, Co. Anyway, after acquiring the wing foot, Bomberman is able to double jump indefinitely. This power-up is pretty important for a lot of levels, since the levels, after a while, just start getting built around the idea that you didn't explode this power-up. It only lasts for a given area, but a lot of the levels you'll just find it at the beginning of them. So, yeah, don't lose it. Not that it's hard to do, but don't be that guy. The only other things to note about this level are the icicles that are much less dangerous than actual icicles, and the boss of the level, which is a giant crab. Okay, so what's wrong with it? 1, it's a crab. 2, his movement pattern is a literal T. 3, the areas before this just hand out remote bombs. So if you have experience with this game, this boss quickly becomes a curbstone. After crushing the crustacean, you then move on to the next level, Wind, which actually looks like a mountainous area, which is pretty weird. Evil Mountain, if halfway up you start to look like a mountain, and just before that you were claiming to be an ocean, you got some issues you need to resolve, because right now you look like Confused Mountain. In the Wind level, you'll be encountering things such as energy cannons, like in the first level, but now in greater number, mini wind volcanoes that will blow Bomberman upwards a set distance, though I never found a use for these, and the most dangerous thing in the level? These blue jerks. These guys are fairly unpredictable. They can go either backwards the way they came or forwards, but they seem to follow wherever Bomberman goes. Well, if they can. Add in their speed and you'll really want to have a remote bomb when dealing with these guys. Also, the levels seem taller than before, but I guess that's might be a gradual progression. And the music is also kind of repetitive. And also, this stage looks kind of neat. I don't want to talk about the boss. I really don't. I don't want to. Can we go back to the ocean level? Can I make more jokes about that? That'd be great, right? Come on. Okay, this boss. Now, my response wasn't due to some form of necrophobia. It was mainly due to the fact that this is the hardest boss in the entire game. Even more so than the last boss. This is mainly due to the fact that, one, he moves around really fast. At least fast for bosses in this game. Next, he can send out these skulls, which are really hard to dodge, and unless you kill them somehow with your bombs, they will just hound you until they disappear, which is generally a pretty dang long time to be dodging the skulls and the dragon and his other projectiles. Speaking of which, his last projectile is his ability to breathe bones. I don't know why. Now, I'm not really doing him much justice while I'm going about him for this review, but just trust me, don't mess with him. After taking the third power stone and essentially beating the game, you then move on to the fourth stage, Cloud. I'm not even going to waste time, this level is really bland. There aren't any new hazards or anything going on in this level. And, well, there are new enemy types, but that's really about the extent of anything I can even really talk about. So let's skip ahead to the boss, which is a six-legged, three-eyed tiger spider. Okay. Look, if I start questioning it now, I'll start questioning why is the spider the boss for the cloud area? How did the spider get up to the cloud area? Well, how the heck is Bomberman walking around on clouds? And I'll probably circle back to the ocean all over again. Though I'll give this boss some credit, it is the second hardest boss, next to the skeleton dragon and right above the last boss. After obtaining the fourth power stone, it's time to continue up Evil Mountain to its summit. Also known as Evil. I like Confused Mountain better. After your final boss spoilers, seriously guys, Bomberman facing a castle too hard for you? You're in the castle. The castle is not very well insulated, being made of brick and all, so it has burners scattered throughout. The burners themselves can be turned off with explosives, I mean, why wouldn't they? And they're really easy to dodge, unless you frequent jumping into open flames. The castle also seems to have some history behind it. It has some happy fun time wheels, where essentially Bomberman will be stuck if he happens to get too close to these. There are also springboards, like in the cloud level, except, you know, actually useful and worth mentioning. And these slot machines, which give you 1-ups, but it's very rare, so I don't usually waste too much time on them. Enemy-wise, this time around, you're dealing with snakes with wings on them. They don't actually fly, they just descend slowly when they fall. And then there are these skeleton birds, one of the most dangerous enemies in the game. 1, they take 2 hits to kill. 2, they actually go through terrain. 3, when you hit them once, they move much faster. And finally, after all of that, you can face the last boss, the Demon Old Guy. Now, as I said before, he is the third easiest boss. This is mainly because, while he can teleport around, he only teleports to specific areas dependent on where Bomberman is standing. So, yeah, it's pretty easy to abuse. The main thing that makes this boss difficult is the fact that he takes more hits to kill than all the other bosses. And then, finally, after climbing to the top of Evil Mountain and attaining all the Power Stones, Bomberman then assumably walks off to wherever the Sword of the Sun is. Anyway, after that, he then pulls it. Revealing the sun from through all of the dark clouds. And Bomberman becomes a king or knight? What's going on here? Okay, listen. When I said only solution was the Sword of the Sun, and the one who pull it would be the one. I didn't really mean it, I was just trying to rhyme! But, whatever. Anyway, after that, that's it. There's no new game plus or anything like that. That's just the end, and that's the end of the main game. So, with that out of the way, let's move on to the jump game! The jump game is an extra challenge mode kind of thing. It has no precedence over the main game or vice versa. So yeah, it's really pretty much just there for a time waster, kinda. Not to say it isn't fun. In the game, Bomberman is cursed to have his jump button held down, so he jumps consistently throughout the game. Your main goal in the game is essentially to kill the boss and then move on to the next area up the obstacle course. Vertical obstacle course, whatever you call that. The only other thing to note is that the bosses also made an appearance in the Virtual Boy game and actually have names, but the less we talk about the Virtual Boy, the better. So, yeah. In all, Pocket Bomberman is a pretty good Game Boy game. It's not the most amazing one by any stretch of imagination, I don't think, but it is still fun and I like the different approach they took to the normal Bomberman formula. So if you happen to find it somewhere, I'd recommend it, assuming it's at a good price. Hey guys, Spence again. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, well, you should check out some of the other videos on the channel. If you haven't liked League, you should check out some of Cole's League videos. Also, you want to figure out the whole footwing thing, you should check out Cole's Let's Play as Zexus. There are fairies, anime princesses, and spacemen abound on the NES.